the end of our second season. I am so excited. This is going to be our best show ever. And I couldn't think of a better way to start off our show with my family, because this is the reason that we all get together every single week, is for our kids, for our families, to bring in a better generation. And I wanted to introduce you to my beautiful children and to my husband. This is Talia right here. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. And this is Jade. And this is my husband, Joe. And I'm Shari Criso. I'm the host of My Baby Experts. And I'm just so excited to be here with you guys tonight. There is way too much excitement when I got my favorite people around me. And let me tell you, all I have to do is look over and see some of my favorite faces, and it just brings a smile to my face. We got babies in the rooms, we got mommies in the room, we got daddies in the room. So what I'm going to say is goodbye to my children right now. They're going to go sit down, okay?
Bye, Mom.
All right, bye. Go head over, and we're going to talk for a moment. All right. All right, goodbye. Okay, so just a moment with me for a minute, because I just want to personally welcome you. This is just an amazing thing that I'm able to come and do for you and with you every single week. And let me tell you, if you think you're getting something out of this program, no one gets more out of this than me, to be able to provide this kind of knowledge and education for those of the people that know me, especially my live clients, the people who spend time with me here in the store, who have been watching for many years with us. They know that this is absolutely my favorite thing to do in the world, and it is my mission to educate, empower, and inspire new parents to be able to provide the best things for their new babies and their children that they can, to make the best choices in life. And that's really what this is all about, is providing you good information, good knowledge, so you can make those choices. We all have choices to make, and we all have the opportunity to make whatever we want to and do whatever we want to do with it. So that's what tonight is about. Tonight, I am actually dedicating the entire show to breastfeeding. And for those of you also who know me, you know that I'm a huge breastfeeding advocate. I'm a board-certified lactation consultant, and I really haven't spent a lot of time over season 2, spending a lot of time talking about breastfeeding. We've talked about cloth diapering and autism and vaccinations and feeding your children with so many amazing guests. This was an amazing season with the best experts coming on. And there's just been so many questions that have come in over the past couple weeks about breastfeeding. And I said, you know what, we're going to save it for 2 hours for a grand finale. I'll be able to answer your questions tonight, and we're going to actually have real moms with their babies coming to do some interviews with us, because it's always great to hear from real moms who are experiencing it firsthand. So in a little while, I'm going to introduce you to some of my favorite clients who are experiencing and breastfeeding their babies right now, and we're going to sit on the couch with them, and we're going to talk, and they're going to share their amazing stories with you. So nothing better than to hear it from a real mom. But I've also been able to record those courses onto DVD for you, so that for people who live far away, they've been able to actually work with me and take my classes. I have 2 programs. One is called Simply Breastfeeding, and this is a DVD program that is available to you to be able to watch at home. It's a full program that really gets you prepared for breastfeeding, and I think tonight's show, it's really important to put a little bit of emphasis on how important this program is, and you'll hear later from my clients who've actually followed the program and what an impact it has made on them and their experience with breastfeeding. I also have another program, and this is called Breast Pumps and Briefcases, and this is an audio CD that actually teaches you everything you need to know when you're going back to work and breastfeeding. And I know, because I was one of those moms. You saw Jade and Talia here before. They're 9 and almost 7 years old, and I exclusively breastfed both my children until they were about 13 months old. And I didn't do that sitting home. I did that working full-time. With my first, I was in the hospital working full-time and breastfeeding and running out in the middle of the night to the hospital and doing deliveries. Joe would drive up with the baby at 2 in the morning, and I'd run down and breastfeed her. It was a commitment that we made to her for that first year, and commitment is super important when it comes to breastfeeding, and you'll see that in my program. And so I teach this from a place of real understanding and real world knowledge, so that you can have that experience as well. So check out those programs. They're amazing. And we have a new program coming out that I want to announce. Earth Day is coming up. Do you guys know Earth Day is coming up, right? Okay, yay. Earth Day is coming up, and we're going to be having all over the country, they're doing the Great Diaper Change, okay? We're so excited. They're all excited. They're like jumping up and down. Okay, so it's a cloth diapering day. where we are going to be hosting a big event, okay? We're going to try to get about at least 100 to 200 moms in our area, and there are moms all over the country who are going to be cloth diapering all at the same time to bring awareness to cloth diapering, and that's going to be another episode that we'll talk about. But we are going to actually be launching our DVD program on how to cloth diaper effectively and make it easier for you, because we know there's just so much information. This is going to make it super simple, and it's really funny too. So you'll enjoy it, okay? You'll really enjoy it. Hold on and wait for that program. It's coming. And what we're going to do next is I have a very special guest, okay? So I'd like to introduce you, because this is a person who I had the pleasure of meeting several years ago. And we spoke sometime last week, and when I spoke to her, I said, I just really would love for you to come on my show. This person is a mom. She's a very unique woman. She has a lot of wonderful life experience. She's amazing. She's a mother of 3 children. Two of them are twins, and she's a contributing editor for Fit Pregnancy magazine. She does all the breastfeeding for Fit Pregnancy for the past 14 years. So you can imagine that she has more knowledge of interviewing the experts, talking to moms, and her own personal experience. Her name is Carol Lucia, and I'm just extremely excited to have her. She's on the phone with us, and we're going to do a quick interview with Carol, okay? So she also is a columnist and writes the pregnancy Q&A column and features in health columns for the Fit Pregnancy magazine. So it's really an honor for me to say hello and to welcome and introduce you to Carol. Carol, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Carol. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Shari. I am just tickled pink.
Oh, so are we. So are we. It's really exciting to have you here with us. When we talked this week, and I thought, okay, this is a person that I can't get off the phone with. You know that there's like a connection when you start talking and the conversation just doesn't want to end. You know what I'm talking about? So I just wanted you to quickly tell us a little bit about your own personal experience and your professional experience. You've been doing this for such a long time, and share with our viewers, how you came to be doing this and with your own children.
I've been with the magazine for 14 years, and I actually started there before I was even pregnant. I think there was something in the water, because within a month I was pregnant with my first son. And pretty quickly after that, kind of got really interested in the breastfeeding, and I was the managing editor then, and I wasn't really involved too much in the production of articles, but I was so interested in it that I started feeling like that was what I really wanted to delve into and to really commit myself to. So I became the quote-unquote, breastfeeding editor for this magazine. And I had seen all 4 of my sisters before me breastfeed and just thought, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and I just automatically knew that this is what I was going to do and that this is what my body was made for. And my son was born, and he latched on, and that was it. I was hooked, and I never, ever, ever, never had any doubts, never had anything but complete commitment to it. And I was lucky; I didn't have any problems.
You were lucky. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so
that's great. And he's 12 years old, right?
He's 12.
He's 12.
He's not breastfeeding anymore.
He's not breastfeeding anymore. Okay. Just to clarify that, he's not breastfeeding anymore. But you also have twins that are 3 years old, right?
Yes. I have twins, and they kind of gave me a slice of humble pie when it came to breastfeeding, because it was so natural and so easy for me with my son Dylan, and they were born about 5.5 weeks early. Yeah. And I didn't know, shame on me, that when babies are premature like that, they oftentimes, they have problems with their suck-swallow reflex.
Yes.
Mine didn't, but they were so sleepy and so tired that they didn't have the energy to nurse effectively.
Right.
And I didn't know this, and after some trial and error, I figured out, hey, these guys aren't latching on well, and I'm not stimulating my supply, and my supply dropped. And so I was pumping, and I was nursing, and I was giving bottles and all the rest of it, and I couldn't get it back. No matter what I did, my supply just wouldn't rebound. And and there I was, here, a breastfeeding editor, having to supplement my children's breastfeeding with formula, and just completely devastated by it. So I really understand where women are coming from when they do have problems.
Yeah.
And that was kind of an interesting thing for me to learn.
I think it's so important to understand that, sometimes as breastfeeding moms, we think that everybody just has a choice, and it's either they're choosing to breastfeed or they're not, or they're choosing not to breastfeed. And it's very easy, I would see, if you were breastfed your first, to just think that about everyone. And there really are people, and everybody has a unique situation. And it's really important not to pass judgment and not to judge, because you really never know what you're not walking in their shoes.
Right. And I think we've talked about this, every woman is different, and every baby is different, and every family is different.
That's right.
There are different demands on them and different challenges, and it's so easy to make these glib judgments and to just dismiss people as not being committed when you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And
absolutely.
And I just want to say that if a woman does have any sort of problems or any sort of questions or any sort of hiccups along the road, yes, it's great to listen to your friends, and yes, it's great to read the books and all that, but the books aren't written for you, for any particular woman, and there's so many different variables that go into life with a baby and life, as breastfeeding. And so if you have problems, go to an expert. Have them help you come up with a plan that suits your life and your baby and your family.
I think that's so important. And, I use this analogy all the time that, so many, and support groups are great, and I'm a big advocate for moms supporting moms with breastfeeding. But when you are running into those challenges, you really do need an expert to help you get through them. It's sort of like if you have a problem with your pregnancy, you wouldn't be asking your pregnant friends. You'd be going to your practitioner, to your midwife, to your doctor to ask for help and get support. And sometimes we look at breastfeeding as not that type of a medical issue, when it can be when it's not going well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing is just as every woman and every baby is unique, every lactation consultant is unique. And the first one you try, if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't feel right, call someone else, because it's so important to feel comfortable with this person. You're opening your life and your soul
Absolutely.
to her or him.
Absolutely.
And you've got to have a really special relationship with that person. You have to feel that connection.
I mean, we have personalities too, and sometimes, as lactation consultants, you're going to find different opinions, different personalities, and sometimes you're going to mesh with somebody and you're not going to mesh with others. And as lactation consultants, we have different opinions and techniques that we use that may work for one person and not work for another.
Absolutely. And that's not to say that one person is right and one person is wrong.
Absolutely.
But you have to find the fit that's right for you. You have to go with your instinct on what feels right.
Absolutely.
And that philosophy, hopefully, needs to match yours.
I loved what you said to me earlier when you said, have your goals, be flexible, and then be easy on yourself.
So, yes, this is as wonderful as life is with a baby or babies, as in my case. It's wonderful. It's indescribable how wonderful it is, but it's also incredibly difficult and chaotic. And
yes.
And you have to give yourself a break. You have to let go of your idealized visions of what life with a baby is supposed to be like, and what breastfeeding is supposed to be like.
Yes.
And cut yourself a break.
Totally.
Give up on the ideas of perfection, and be as kind to yourself and as loving to yourself as you are to your baby, and be as kind and as loving to your partner, if you have one, as you are to your baby, because that's another thing that
It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing to say, and it's really the cornerstone of all of our teaching. When Joe and I teach our classes, it's all about taking care of mom, to really support mom to feel good, because in the end, if mom's feeling good and taken care of, then dad's happy and so is baby, because baby's getting what baby needs. So it's really important that we do focus on taking care of ourselves. As mothers, we tend to not do that, and as partners, as a couple, focusing on having that good relationship.
It's vitally important, and it's easy to let that slip because it's the crying baby who demands the attention, and your partner baby
crying baby, 7-year-olds, 9-year-olds. It doesn't end, does it?
It never ends.
It never ends. I think it never ends. Anyway, I love, and you also said that you had something on fitpregnancy.com where you had a photo essay and video of your birth with the twins.
I have a photo essay of
Beautiful.
The C-section delivery of Aiden and Claire, my twins.
That's beautiful.
There's no gore. There's no innards to be seen.
Okay, good. No innards. I like the way she put that. Awesome. Joe actually put that up on our resource page, so for anybody who wants to see that link and see the clip, the beautiful clip of her babies being born, go to the resource page and it'll link you over to Fit Pregnancy Magazine so you can watch Carol's birth. And Carol, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We have a lot to cover. I wish we could spend the rest of the next 2 hours, I know, speaking to each other, but I think they want to get on to some prizes too, so, you know.
Yeah. Thank you, and I hope everyone enjoys, and I'm sure it'll be absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you, Carol. Talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye-bye. Awesome. Thank you, Carol. Carol's awesome. Carol does all the editing for Fit Pregnancy with all the breastfeeding. And, you know, this has been going on for a long time. And breastfeeding is finally starting to get the recognition that it needs. And Carol's a big part in making that happen. And Fit Pregnancy in general, even the chief editor, she's a breastfeeding. She breastfed her own children. I've met them all. They're amazing, amazing women over there. So just my hat's off to all of them. Mama Melinda's on the line with us over here, and she is the owner and founder of Earth Mama Angel Baby. You know, one of my favorite companies, and she does a product line that covers everything from pregnancy to breastfeeding to baby care to C-sections to whatever it is that you would need. Mama's got it covered, okay? So what I want to do is show you a quick video I did for Earth Mama Angel Baby on their fabulous nipple butter, the best out there, okay? The best nipple cream out there. Zero toxin, just totally healthy for your baby and really great for your nipples. Right? Good for
and
nipples.
your lips.
And for your lips too. JB uses it as lip gloss, right?
I even pull it out on the subway.
Nipple cream right on the top. Love it. I love you. Okay, ready? So let's play that video. Hi, my name is Shari Criso. I'm a certified nurse midwife, an international board-certified lactation consultant, and the author of the Simply Breastfeeding DVD program. This is the Earth Mama Angel Baby Natural Nipple Butter, and the #1 choice for all of my nursing clients. This wonderful nipple cream is organic olive oil infused with wound-healing calendula, a herb that's safe to use on cracked nipples. In fact, it's so safe that you don't need to wash it off before you nurse your baby. It also has organic cocoa and mango butters, which help to soothe, protect, and soften the skin. It also acts as a moisture barrier for those sensitive nipples. Just as important as what this nipple cream has in it is what's not in it. This nipple cream is clinically tested, zero toxin, and completely lanolin free. What this means is that this nipple cream was clinically tested by an independent ISO certified testing facility. And this is important because personal care products are not required to be tested. It is also rated 0 on the Skin Deep Toxin Database. That means there's 0 toxins in it. This is the first lanolin-free nipple cream, and what that means is there's no worry about wool allergies or any kind of pesticide contamination for you or the baby. I recommend using this nipple cream starting with the very first feeding, then reapplying it every time you bathe or you nurse the baby. It's also great as a lip balm and to apply as a moisturizing cream for your baby's tender little cheeks. It's no wonder this nipple cream is so widely recommended by hospitals, lactation consultants, doctors, and nurses. It's a really great product. Check it out for yourself, you'll see. What we're going to do right now is something very special. So I'm going to ask my first couple to come on over and have a seat on my couch here, okay? And, you know, this is something, thank you guys. This is the first time that we're actually doing this here live on the show, and I'm really, really excited because the people that you're about to meet and actually everybody who's coming on, they're all viewers of the show, and so you know them. They'll say their screen names so that you'll know who they are. They've had their babies, and I've asked them to come and share their breastfeeding experiences with you all. It's one thing to hear from me as an expert. It's another thing to hear from a mom and dad who are literally going through it right now. So I'm going to make my way over to the couch, okay? We got our little studio here, okay? And I just want to ask you to introduce yourselves. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited. Introduce yourselves and introduce your baby, and then tell us how old he is. And
my name is Melissa, and this is my husband Garrett,
Yes.
and this is our 3-week-old son Brandon. we've been nursing exclusively since he's been born.
Awesome. Look how cute he is. He's adorable. And Alyssa, you've been watching the show since the beginning, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you've been a big fan.
Yes.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about your story, because your story, really is a little different than for most first-time moms out there. This is not your first baby.
No, I have a 7.5-year-old daughter who I did try to nurse. I nursed her for about a month, but in the hospital she also received formula as well, because I didn't know any better, and I felt like she always seemed hungry, and she didn't latch on the way that I guess she didn't. She always seemed like she was just hungry.
Did you feel like did you take any classes? Were you prepared for it at all?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No, I tried to read. I read so many books, and I took what they offered in the hospital, and I had the lactation consultant come in, and 20 minutes on each side, and I was miserable. I had black circles around my eyes, my boobs hurt, and my baby wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And I ended up formula feeding her for the rest of the year. But I was very dedicated this time around. I really wanted to make it work this time. And my girlfriend had actually said, you have to go and see the lady in Denville and
that lady in Denville. I've been referred to as that woman in Denville, on more than one occasion. But I'm proud of it, Hey.
But she had said that, if you really want to try it out, go and take her class. And we came, and it was the best money that we've ever spent. And we committed ourselves that we really wanted to make this work.
Yes.
And we were able to do it. I mean, we did have a stumbling block in the hospital, but without your course, we wouldn't have been able to make it through. Absolutely.
And so there were things that I taught you that were different.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of things that were different. I remember you sitting in my live class, and you were sitting to the left of me, and I'll never forget, I would say things and I'd look over at you, and you were just like shaking your head, just going, and I knew what you were thinking was, if I had only known that the first time.
I cried after your class because I felt like everything seemed so simple on what you were instructing, and I felt guilty.
Yeah.
I felt really guilty. Like, had I known what you were able to teach through your courses and through the CD and the paperwork, that I would have been able to successfully breastfeed my daughter. And
it's sort of a bittersweet experience a lot of times for second-time moms. As a first-time mom, you come in, you just don't really know that there's anything different, and you're just kind of committed and you're going with it. And it's always harder for my second-time or third-time moms to actually sit there and think, God, I wish I had this information. Could it really be that simple? And I know you had some doubts even sitting through the course, is this really going to work? But I know you were totally committed to it.
Absolutely. I think the way that you structured everything on making it, you really commitment first versus technique initially. And
do you see that now? That
oh my gosh, absolutely. Absolutely. And even some of the little things that I would never have thought. Like we had last show you were doing. I was actually in the hospital. I had just delivered.
I remember. You missed the show because you were having the baby.
Well, no, I actually logged on. I did.
She logged on from the hospital. Now that is a true fan, right?
And that night, I mean, the first night he was born, he latched on great, and everybody's like, you have to do 20 minutes. I'm like, no, I refuse to do. No, I'm only doing 5 minutes. And they asked lactation consultant, do you want to see her? I said no. I said I have a lactation consultant I'm working with, and I'm confident in what I'm doing. That night he was so hungry that he wasn't able to latch on. And I'm watching, and I needed the help. So I packed your CD, and I packed all of the paperwork from my course.
Your laptop and your CD,
absolutely.
Right?
And I'm sitting on my hospital bed, and they come in. The nurse tells me that my son has now lost the 10% of his weight, and that his bilirubin was high, so he was jaundice, and that if I couldn't get him to eat, that we might have to talk about other hospital policy and getting something else into him. And my husband had gotten sick that night, so he was home, and he said, well, whatever we have to do to make the baby healthy, let's do it. And I said no. I said we committed to this. This is what we're doing. And for from about 8 o'clock at night till 3:30 in the morning, I struggled squeezing, expressing into a spoon, like you had said in the course, just to get him to eat. And he was screaming hysterically. He would suck on the pacifier, no problem, but then he wouldn't latch on. And I had a nurse holding one boob and trying to throw the kid. We tried all the holds. We tried everything. Things that even you had said, all right, cross cradle. No, we did a football hold. We tried everything.
Yes.
And in the end, we were able to get him to latch on, pulled the pluggy out, and threw him on, and he was able to finally latch on, and then the rest of the time we were good. But just even expressing into the spoon, I felt like he's getting something. And
and having that knowledge that you can do that.
Absolutely. I would never have thought, I would have given up, I think, with my daughter.
Yeah.
I would have given up at that point and given him the bottle, and knowing that was just enough. It's just colostrum. It's okay.
Yes.
That's all he needs.
Yes. And never supplemented.
Never supplemented.
Awesome.
We made it through, and then the rest of the time in the hospital, we did all right. Again, we had the nurses, you got to wake him up. You have to feed him more. You got to get more milk. He's losing too much weight. And I stuck with my 5, 7, 10 minutes, and then my milk came in, and they even said, let's bring in the pump. I said, no, I don't have milk. You're not supposed to pump. I fought everything.
What Alyssa's referring to is that a lot of what I teach in my program is very different from what you're going to hear out there. When you watch or listen to an expert, you're listening to an expert's opinion. Understand that there is lactation physiology, and then there's technique. And when you're reading your books and you're watching programs, it is always an expert's opinion. And I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of successful breastfeeding moms to make the statements that I'm making in my program that are going to make it very different. They're going to make it easier on you so that you don't feel so much like you're not doing the right thing, or that the baby's really sleepy, or if you don't have enough milk. It's going to take you in a different direction to make you feel confident. And I think that's what you're referring to, because a lot of people out there are like, what is she talking about? 5 minutes, 7 minutes. You got to watch the program to understand that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I had no pain.
Yeah.
Isn't
that amazing? Everybody thinks that they have to have pain to breastfeed.
Nothing at all. And it was actually funny because that night I was trying to get him a nurse. He would latch on. He liked the taste of the nipple butter.
Yeah. You hear that, Mama? You hear that out there?
He would not. Nipple butter. He would not latch on unless I had just applied more nipple butter, which was actually really kind of funny.
That's awesome.
So he did, and he's doing great.
And you're exclusively breastfeeding, and things are going well, and you have plenty of milk, and no sore nipples, and everything's working well.
Absolutely.
This is amazing. Alyssa, I just want to applaud you. Congratulations. You did an amazing job. Alyssa said something in the beginning, which is that her commitment was so much more important than her technique. And although I do go through quite a bit of technique in what I teach, everybody who works with me or learns from me knows that I always say that only 2% of your success comes from your technique that I'm going to teach you, and 98% of your success is going to come from the confidence and the commitment to the process. And I'm a big advocate of teaching you commitment and getting you to fully commit to like what it is that are your breastfeeding goals. And as long as you can do that, and then you have the background knowledge behind it, you can do this. You can really do this, and that means whatever that looks like for you as far as your own goals. So thank you so much for sitting with us. We really appreciate it.
I wouldn't have been able to do it without you, and the gift that you've given to my family is beyond what the cost was, and it's not even that. It's again, I feel that I'm giving my son the best I possibly can, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without you and Joe. Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. Everybody's crying in the audience. Taylor's just sitting around at the top. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is let me grab some questions and answers, okay? Because I haven't been able to answer all of my questions lately. I'm coming back over here, okay? Sorry for making you all dizzy, okay? As we spin around in our chairs here. Taylor's just going to come on to me here a little bit and bring it onto my face so that I can answer a couple questions. we have, over the past 6 months, the questions have been pouring in, and sometimes I get so busy, with doing whatever we're doing, whether it's our guest experts or answering questions on the particular topic of that night. Tonight's questions are all breastfeeding related questions that I want to get a chance to answer for you, because I know that you have some really good ones out there. I did highlight a few here, and listen, we had almost over 400 people RSVP with questions, okay? So obviously, I have to be here all night to answer all of your questions, if you can kind of see what came through the chat lines here, but I'm going to go through a few of them. One of them came in from Catherine in North Carolina, and Catherine asked me, does taking birth control affect does it affect your breast milk? And the answer is yes and no, okay? So there's two answers to this question. First, what I want to say is the actual medication, like the estrogen and the progesterone, does not affect your milk actually. So it's not going to go into your milk and affect the quality of your milk. So therefore, you may have your physician prescribe you combined birth control pills, and that's very common, and they think that that's fine to do while you're breastfeeding. The problem with combined estrogen and progesterone pills, like the regular birth control pills, is that estrogen will actually decrease milk supply, and they're not focused on your milk supply. So it's very, very important that when you're using birth control while you're breastfeeding, that you're not taking combined pills, that you make sure that you're asking for, if you're going to use birth control pills, that you're asking for progesterone-only pills, or what they call mini pills, all right, so that you make sure that you're not taking the estrogen. Estrogen will just help to decrease your milk supply, and obviously that's not going to be good for your baby, all right? So that's the first question. The other question came in from, let's see. This one came in from Heather in Massachusetts, and Heather asked, my 6-month-old tends to nurse for only a few minutes and then turns away and starts crying. I assume that because he already drank all the milk on the first letdown, and then I go to switch breasts and the process starts all over. Is there a way to keep him sucking until the next letdown like he did when he was younger? Okay, so here's the good news, Heather, okay? As babies continue to get bigger, the feedings get shorter, okay? That's what's actually going on. Your baby is really done after a few minutes, and I get these calls all the time from new moms. They're freaking out on the phone because the feedings were lasting 10, 15, 20 minutes, and now the baby's nursing for like 5, 6 minutes and stopping, and they're going, why is my baby not eating enough? And the truth is that they are eating enough. They just become more and more efficient. This is what we talk about when we say breastfeeding is so easy. Okay, what we mean is breastfeeding becomes so easy. So after a month, after 6 weeks, especially at 6 months, okay, your child literally might only be eating for 5 or 6 minutes. Do you all guys all see that with your own children? Right, they're all nodding here. My kids, by the time they were 6 months old, it was like a 5-minute thing, nothing to wash, nothing to prepare, nothing to heat up. It was done, over, next, onto something new. And so that's probably what's happening, and it's perfectly normal, okay? So I hope that answered some questions. I'm gonna come back to some questions in a minute, but I got Janine and Jerry sitting here on the couch with me, and I'd love to talk to them. And Nina, little baby Nina, who is 13 weeks old, right?
Yes.
13 weeks old. Look how beautiful she is.
Try to keep it together
Oh,
here.
see, she's swaddled.
Nice and tightly.
Nice and tightly. So Janine, okay, so Janine and Jerry were also students of mine in my classes, and they're also been on the show with us for weeks and weeks, right?
Yes, many weeks.
Many weeks, right from the beginning, probably. Mm-hmm. And you guys have a little bit of a unique story that I want you to share, just because I remember you guys sitting in my classes too, and a lot of concern, a lot of worry over whether this was going to work, and I even had concern.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see. Tell me a little bit about what's going on now and what happened then.
Okay, well, when I first came to Shari, I learned about her education series, and the way my husband and I are with everything, we just were 100%. We have to read everything we possibly can. Here, why don't you take her for a sec? We wanted to gain as much knowledge as possible for this process. Everything else in our lives we've done the same way. So we wanted our baby to obviously get,
it's your most
if not more.
Right. Yes.
So we came to the class, and we also had a major concern because I had double breast reduction surgery.
Yes.
I had it twice, once at 14 and once at 22.
Yeah, and this is something that a lot of people come into the store, or they write to me, or they're on our blog saying, you know, I have so many concerns. I never thought about it when I was having it back then. Like, you know, you're 14 or you're 20 and you're like having the reduction surgery, and you're not thinking like someday I'm going to be a mom and I want to breastfeed. and how's this going to affect me?
And the breastfeeding was such a huge important thing for us because both of us were breastfed babies. And when I did have the breast reduction surgery at 14, my mom, I have to give my mom props.
Yeah.
She said to the surgeon, please make sure my daughter could breastfeed.
Wow. Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant at the time. I was like, okay, just, you know, make these boobs smaller, they're out of control. You know.
Just get rid of them. I don't care.
So, you know, but my mom said, please, I really want her to be able to breastfeed. And I am so thankful that she did, because apparently the nerve endings were not severed to the nipple, so I was able to express milk, which was a major concern for Shari and I. But with Shari's education, with the courses, we have been exclusively breastfeeding for 13 weeks.
And you could see that she's not low milk supply in any way. Oh no! With those cheeks like this.
Yeah.
I remember the day Janine had her baby. I was in Washington D.C. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, right. And I was winning my award in Washington, and I get an email, and I call her back from my cell phone, and she goes, "We had the baby, and I see milk!" And we were like screaming in the car, Joe and I. We were like, "Yay!" We were so happy.
Yes.
Just because there's so many people out there. I think the biggest thing to take away from this is that you just don't know till the day that it happens, and you have to prepare yourself for the best. Because had Janine and Jerry, listened to other people or read books or read, on the internet and said, well, most people who have breast reduction surgery can't breastfeed, and you've had 2 of them.
And that's what they said in the hospital.
And they told you that you probably won't be able to make any milk. So if you listen to people and then had never gotten the education and never even tried, you would not be breastfeeding today. So it was always just, I felt so proud of the 2 of you, like sitting in the class, really listening, really paying attention to every word that went on in all the classes that we taught, that I taught you, and really, saying, well, we're prepared. The day that the day that this milk comes in, if it's going to come in, we're going to be ready for it. And you really did it. And this is all you. Really, I'm so proud of both you guys.
Thank you.
And look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just
There we
like
go.
super dad.
Let's do that.
He's using my techniques,
Yep,
okay?
our
We did some burping techniques on a prior show, right?
And soothing, yeah. I mean,
Burping and soothing techniques.
she loves
and
it.
This is some of the stuff
Yeah.
that I teach. This is not on film yet, so you guys are going to have to wait for this. Maybe we'll do a show.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe we'll do a show
Yeah.
about teaching people how to burp. I've had one episode I was teaching burping, and then I got a whole bunch of...
That's her debut.
Someone's bored.
Yeah.
Come on. How cute is that? So cute. But we taught burping on one of our episodes, and we got so many questions from that one episode. Could you please show that again? How did you do that, And we don't pat to burp, right?
No.
We don't pat to burp. It's an
No
up and
need.
down motion.
Yeah.
Burping
No
is
need.
all about keeping your baby calm, not crying, and not asleep, okay? So feeding your baby till they are in milk coma
Right.
will not work, right? Okay.
I think
Awesome,
one
guys.
point,
Yeah,
Sharon, one point
please.
too is that I think the confidence that we got that you spoke of is important. But like you said, I mean, you were honest with us. You said 50% of women who had breast reductions cannot breastfeed.
Yes.
There's a real reality in that. And obviously our goal was to
Yes.
breastfeed exclusively for, a year. And that's
Yes.
what Janine wanted to do. But I think, like your point earlier was that you set your goal, but you have to be flexible.
Absolutely.
And you said to us, listen, that's number 1, breastfeeding. After that, if it doesn't work out,
Yes.
we're going to have plan B and C and D and E.
Yes.
And so that gave us confidence too. So it wasn't a failure because the baby's going to be here, so you have to do something.
That's right.
So that was key for me. I mean, Janine was focused on breastfeeding. That's great. But for me, I was like, well, if it doesn't work out,
Yes.
you had a plan in place. So I think that's
Yeah.
that's important. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's for
And
us,
not
it was
just
great.
going to the formula, having
Right.
other options other than.
There's so many
Formula.
other options, and always we turn right to formula as our first choice. There's donor milk. There's so many other things that people are just not aware of,
Right.
to be able to still give your baby the next best thing if you can't actually breastfeed, And sometimes you can breastfeed some of it, and you may need to supplement, but you at least do some.
Right.
I want to also honor Jerry too, because he's been such an amazing dad, and we have, he is the best, right? And, I don't know if you guys know, but in our classes, we teach all to couples, all right? It's a requirement. Joe and I actually teach the class together, which is interesting to have a dad
Yeah.
teaching a breastfeeding class. But there are a lot of classes out there where dads are not even invited to attend. I think it is asinine. I'm sorry, can I say that on TV?
Yes, you can.
It's asinine, okay? To actually think that you're going to teach a class where dad's not invited to attend, where when you're home alone at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're struggling with breastfeeding and he's looking at you like, don't ask me, I don't got any. All right,
Right.
This is crazy. This is so important. It's critical to my program that dad becomes your lactation consultant. And I taught you in a way that was very simple,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
To be able to see and like look over her and really
Adjust
her,
position.
help her
does.
adjust position, right? He
Even
does.
now, he's like, pull her down a little bit. Okay, I'm getting
amazing.
offended now. I'm like,
But it's more than just the technique. It's the commitment of dad really understanding why you're doing this, and then also that this is your child, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of dads out there that want the mother of their child to breastfeed, but it's kind of the mother, rules the roost in that sense. I mean, she
Yeah.
delivered the baby, so you're kind of handcuffed. I mean, I'm lucky that I have Janine here, so
Yes.
committed. But there are a lot of guys that, if they are committed, I would say, try and get with a program or a lactation consultant, because it does mean a lot that you help commit your
Yeah.
wife. If your wife's teetering and you want to just be there,
Yeah.
and I think that was important for me and Janine to make sure that we're both on the same page. So.
Absolutely.
We believe so much in doing this as a team. It's so important. And if you're a single mom, then you still need support. So whether that's a friend or a mother or whoever that's going to be in your life, it's really hard to do this completely on your own. So it can sometimes not be your partner, like in a husband or a boyfriend, but also whoever that is in your life that's going to support you. Raising a child is not easy, and especially in the beginning, you need that support to just kind of take a break, right?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you get the
Awesome.
bottle. It's awesome feeding her
Yeah.
breast milk too from her.
He
and
feeds
give
her
a
every
break.
night,
I mean,
gives her
it's-
bottle before
Yeah.
she goes to
It's nice.
bed.
It's really good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really good. You guys did amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
It's all
that you
because
came.
of you.
Yeah.
Well, no,
We tell
you know,
everyone.
honestly, they all give me a lot of credit
We
here, but
do.
the truth is, if they were not committed as parents, this wouldn't be happening. And so I help to facilitate that. Okay, that's what we do.
Yes.
But you guys actually do the real work, and so we applaud you. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So this is Tara. Tara's an old customer, not old, but a long time. I don't mean you're old. Yes. You're a long time customer of
Yes.
mine, right? You've
Yes.
been coming to the store for
Since it opened.
Since it first opened. The old one, the
Yes.
original 9 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, Tara, I just can't believe we're sitting here on the couch together.
Me too.
Tell us a little bit about your story, because your story is a little bit different as
Oh,
well.
sure.
So your breastfeeding experience.
Yes, I'm a mom of 3.
Yes.
And kids, they are 8, 6, and 2. And I tried nursing the first 2. Did the same thing as some of the other ladies here said, read everything, went to the classes at the hospital, thought I was...
And I think each time I was like, you should come take some classes, right? Did I say that?
I'm like, no, I got it.
I'm like, come take the class. She's like, no, I'm all right.
All right.
I remember.
I know, and
Yeah.
I even saw the lactation consultants. I don't know why I didn't come to you, but but by the third time,
The third time was a charm.
the third time was a charm, because actually with the first 2, I was committed to giving breast milk, and I pumped exclusively for both children,
Which is harder. It's
which
actually
was
harder.
very hard.
So, we give you kudos for that, because I know that it's the hardest choice out of all of it is to pump and feed.
Right.
It's the most admirable because we know why you're doing it.
Right.
Is you want to provide your baby with breast milk, but it really is harder than anything else.
Exactly. I think as a new mom, I did not realize and have the trust in my body and the confidence to know that at this moment it's a little rough. But what you said to me, I took Shari's. I got the DVD, so I never came to the class, even though I live kind of close. But I got the DVD because I have 2 other kids.
I felt like that was a real milestone.
that was a milestone. I was just like, yes, she's brought the DVD.
After 9 years.
After 9 years, I bought the DVD, and my husband and I did the whole program at home, and I was just armed with that information and really that self-confidence, because it's all up here.
It's a mind game.
It was total mind game, because as some of the other ladies said, my baby got formula in the hospital, unbeknownst to me, by accident. They kept pushing formula. The baby was very tiny, 3 C-sections, so that I had. So they really wanted me to give formula.
Yes.
But when I come to see you the third time, after I had delivered, that week, you had said to me, Tara, this is just a little bump in the road.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like this forever. And I was like, wow. And I still remember that because, it got so much easier, and I exclusively nursed, and she's still nursing. She's 26 months.
She's 26 months and you're still nursing.
I'm still nursing. I know. So thank you so much. I mean, the information, it really was simple, and it really gives you the knowledge and empowerment to know that you can overcome anything, and what a great resource to women out there.
Thank you.
So thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
It's my honor.
And so does Emily.
And I know she does. Yes. You know what? Thank you for trusting me.
Yes.
That's what I want to say.
Right.
Thank you for trusting me the last time. Because sometimes people don't come around right away.
Right.
They don't realize what they actually need. They don't realize, they think this is going to be something so natural that it's just going to come easy. And it is true for a lot of people. They'll just put their baby on and it'll just happen. But for a very large majority of people, they do need that support and that advice. And I know the last time that you, when you were pregnant with your last, you really did trust me and say, this time I know I'm going to do this different. Doing the same, if you're out there and you're a second-time mom, and you did not have the success, or you didn't reach your goal, whatever that was, in the way that you wanted to, and you're going into this next pregnancy doing the same thing and expecting some other outcome, trust me, it's going to be the same thing all over again. Because unless you get different knowledge, unless you do something different, you're not going to get a different result. And that's true for pretty much anything in life. And so you really need to think that you're going to have some other outcome when you've done the same thing is just not going to happen. So make sure that you make some changes. And it doesn't have to be my program, but find someone that you resonate with. This is one way to do it. There are many other ways. But I can tell you that from the clients that I work with, they all go to me, sore nipple? What's that? And that's crazy. When I see other people and everybody goes, well, I thought some soreness was normal. I'm like, not for my clients, it isn't. They're not having that soreness. They're not having low milk supply issues. They're not having the things that we're seeing out there. And so some of this has to do with perception and understanding of how much milk does my body actually need to make? How long does my baby actually need to eat to get that milk? And some of it is just a perception issue, and having the knowledge is really going to do it.
And the confidence, I think, as a first-time mom, the reason that pumping made me feel so comforted is because I could see how much milk my baby was getting and know, okay, my baby's not starving, but trusting your own body and, seeing that visual of how much milk this is how much the baby needs to eat. And I was like, wow, it was really.
When I show those visuals in the class about how little milk the baby actually needs to eat, usually the dads go, I could do that. That's it. I can make that, right?
Exactly.
It's really so little in the beginning.
Right.
So little. Yeah.
And I think just not understanding that this information isn't out there in the hospitals. You think that it's the pediatricians and the hospitals and the lactation consultants there. It's all general information, and I think
it's a really good point. I think that so many of us think. Is Nina okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You've got babies. She eats too fast. I think so many of us go into the hospital situation or into breastfeeding thinking that the professionals around us are going to know what they need to know. That is the nurses, that is the pediatricians, that is the, anybody that you encounter in the hospital. And I could tell you, as I was a registered nurse, I was a labor and delivery nurse for 6 years. I went to one of the best nursing schools in the entire country. And then, after 4 years of nursing school, I was hired into a labor and delivery unit, and I had never had one class on breastfeeding in all those years. And then I became a nurse midwife. They gave me a license to write prescriptions if you had a breast infection, but they never truly taught me about latch and position. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. And you can imagine, with my first baby, after 14 years of delivering babies and taking care of women, there I was struggling with Jade. And going, oh my God, I don't know this stuff. This is crazy. If I don't know this, then nobody knows this. And that was really the career shift for me, was this is where the help is needed. Because I think that it is not the mother's fault. This is not the fault of mothers out there. If you're not succeeding with breastfeeding and no one is out there to support you, it is not your fault. It's the fault of the entire community, the medical community, not really putting an emphasis on this is an important thing. It's sort of well, you don't make enough milk, so don't worry about it. Suck it up and just give infant formula, what's the big deal?
Right.
And that's just not okay. It's not
Right.
acceptable anymore. And too many parents are finally, and more parents are now starting to put their foot down
Right.
and say, we don't accept that. We just don't accept that as an answer.
Well, and also what you had mentioned previously about the estrogen and the
Yes.
pill. I mean,
Yes.
my doctor had prescribed the doctor that knew I was nursing prescribed an estrogen patch to help with hormones and postpartum depression, and
Decreased your supply.
Decreased my supply, and made the spiral go even worse. And I was thinking, gosh,
As you're sitting here now, you're
I'm like,
thinking,
come on, the things that could have made it easier or less.
they don't know. I actually have pediatricians, obstetricians, midwives actually sitting in my consultation room with their babies, learning from me. I had a client this weekend who came in who was here for a bra fitting, who had never been to the store before, and she was struggling with breastfeeding. It was her first week, and when I looked at her and I said, "How are you doing?" She said, "I'm a neonatologist and I'm doing terrible."
Wow.
And I thought, wow, here's a specialist in newborns, okay, who doesn't know anything about breastfeeding because she was never taught in medical school. And the guilt that comes up for us as professionals not knowing this and thinking, how do we take care of our own children?
Exactly.
It's really a bad thing.
But I think you're doing such a great service to all moms out there, and hopefully it'll spill over to the medical community as well.
Yeah. All right, awesome. I'm sitting here with Patricia and Marcus. We are there from Warm Milk, and they have a fantastic genius, like we said, genius product. Genius, right? Genius. I think we got consensus here, okay? Okay, so here's the deal. So I have always taught breastfeeding for new moms using the My Breast Friend pillow, or a pillow that actually helps to support the baby up at the breast. And I get the questions all the time. It's been going on for years. What do I do when I go out and I want to breastfeed, but you've taught me how to do this and I really need that support? And I was walking around in Las Vegas at the trade show, right,
Yes.
last year, and I get a lot of companies who come and stop me, and they're like, oh, can we do the show with you? Can we do this? Can we sponsor it? And I'm like, no, no. I really have to have something that I really have a reason that I could say, this is really unique. This is really something that I love. And I mean, I walked right up to you guys and I was like, please do this with me. I know. Right? You guys were like, who are you?
No, we weren't.
No, we totally knew Shari was. How did we get so lucky?
Oh, it's okay. You know how it's not luck. It's really, you guys have invented something that has helped a lot, going to help a lot more people and has helped a lot of people already. I had some clients that came to the store recently that were going back to Turkey, and they were going to be flying back with a newborn, and they were trying to figure out which diaper bag to get. And I said to them, you're going to be breastfeeding on the plane all the way back to Turkey. And he said, yeah. I said, this is the perfect bag because now you can actually pack your stuff in and use it as a diaper bag. And they were loving it, and so they bought one and they took it back with them.
Wow.
Can you show us for a minute how it
Sure.
works? Because it's just so great.
Sure, well, I usually have my little skit here where I say, this is a fully functioning diaper bag. And
Somebody who wants to bring you a baby to do it.
Sure. Sure.
We got lots of babies, so go ahead.
Okay.
Do you want to put it on? Why don't you put it on her? And
Would you like to put it on?
Oh, no, you can do it. Here you go.
We're so ready to have their babies.
So then it opens, the strap opens here, and there's a secondary strap hidden in here so that you can put it around your waist, and you can pull out this strap here and secure it to your waist, and it's adjustable so it can fit many different waist sizes.
And it has so much room in it too, so it's not just, it really holds a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
you can really pack a lot into it. And then you open it up, flap it down.
Look at this.
Genius.
And
Genius!
a breast pillow, and you put water in here and your phone in here.
And your nipple butter.
And your oh my god! Oh look, he's doing this.
Rock and roll.
No, it's fantastic.
And then the baby has a position, and you don't have to hurt your back. And
It's so great. It's so great. And then when they're done breastfeeding, you can actually take the pillow out. You have more room, bigger pockets.
yes,
Right.
absolutely, you have this extra pocket. And also, if the baby's older and you're flying, I
Yes.
use the pillow sometimes on the airplane for myself.
Well, it fits so nicely. You can see how it fits so much nicer into an airplane seat where it's not so bulky. Yeah, there we go.
Maybe that one.
There we go. Product endorsement. Joe's just sticking them in there. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is great. I mean, because it really will fit into an airplane seat. And then, you know, it also has the room to use as your diaper bag. So I also love the fact that you made it in such like a gender neutral type of style. So it's great for a dad's bag. And I've been encouraging people, you know, a lot of moms buy their, you know, fancy schmancy diaper bag and then they want that extra bag for dad.
Right.
This is a perfect bag for dad because then you can use it as a nursing pillow.
Right,
too.
they can,
Yeah.
you carry it. You
Yeah, I
carry
carry it, no problem
He'll carry
carrying
it.
it.
Yeah, you carry it. Flower we do.
Even the purple one, right? Exactly. No, but it's fantastic. We totally love this product, and we're going to give one away right now to a lucky winner.
Oh yes,
Yes.
oh yes. And
Jamie has something to say.
I actually, hello there. We've been playing. I saw this bag in Vegas, and it was actually the big like baby gear trade show that we all have to go to, and it was hands down one of the best things I saw in the whole show. So I was very excited to get my hands on one, and you know, it fulfills a need.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's very good.
Was it genius?
Genius.
Genius.
Strong words.
Genius.
And I was so happy when I saw Jamie from like 30 feet away. He was like, I love that! And Marcus wasn't there, and then when he came back, I was like, there was
did I
this
miss?
guy here, and he was like loving this from all the way across the way.
It's just when you know you've made something good, when that many people can really appreciate what you've created, and having something that fulfills a need, and what could be a better need than to support moms to breastfeed on the go, to be able to be comfortable wherever they are, to be able to nurse their babies and not feel inhibited, to be able to leave the house, which is so important as a new mom, to not be stuck at home all the time because you feel like, oh my God, I got all this apparatus and like how am I actually going to do this? So you've gotten moms out of the house. That means happier moms, healthier babies, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so it's fantastic. We just really
Thank you.
we thank you very much, very much. A couple more questions here, okay? All right, so let's see a couple more questions because I know you guys have been dying for more questions and complaining you never get to those breastfeeding questions. All right, here's a question from Jennifer in New Jersey, okay? Jennifer's asking, how often should I be feeding my baby while I'm in the hospital? Every 2 hours, 4 hours, more? Okay, your baby is not going to be on any kind of schedule while you're in the hospital, okay? Your baby is going to be telling you when your baby wants to eat, and that may be every hour, that may be every 3 or 4 hours. It's going to depend. In the beginning, the babies are very, very sleepy, and I don't want you to get concerned if the baby won't wake up exactly every 2 hours to feed. Remember, there's such small amounts of colostrum. As long as you can stimulate them a little, that they get a couple feedings in a day in the beginning, it's okay. They're supposed to lose weight. They're born very fluid overloaded. They've drank a lot of amniotic fluid in utero, and so they're born with extra fluids. They're not dehydrating quickly, and so babies are born sleepy for a reason. You don't have a lot of milk, and your baby's sleepy. What a great combination, okay? That's what you want. You want the baby, you don't have that much, and the baby doesn't want to eat. And the other question part of it was, should I bring my pump and start pumping at the hospital, or wait till I come home and my milk comes in? I know they encourage pumping at the hospital, right? Wrong! Okay? I don't know who's telling you to pump in the hospital, but the problem is here, okay? And I've seen this way too much. Pumping will cause an oversupply issue for most people, and oversupply can actually be worse of a problem than undersupply for a lot of you, okay? People get very excited once their milk comes in, and then engorgement, and you just want to pump it all out thinking, well, while I got it, let me just pump it and freeze it all, okay? What winds up happening is you stay engorged. I have very few times when I encourage actual pumping in the hospital, and, you know, Alyssa described before when she was sitting here that, you know, instead of pumping when her baby was having difficulty latching, she actually hand expressed some milk onto a spoon and fed it to her baby. Colostrum is very difficult to actually pump. It's too sticky. It's usually going to stick to the breast flange. It's not going to go into the bottle. If you really want to get that colostrum into your baby, expressing it onto a spoon, pouring it into your baby's mouth, waiting a couple hours or another hour or two, and your baby to be hungry, and they'll start to latch on again. So, you know, I really don't encourage much pumping in the hospital. That's different than if your baby's in the NICU and you're not able to breastfeed for whatever reason. Once your milk starts to come in, then I am going to encourage you to start pumping. Okay, one more question here. Does what you eat or drink affect how much your baby spits up if they have a sensitivity to the food and drink? This is a very touchy subject for me about baby spit up, okay? Because what I see is that most babies spit up with the idea of overfeeding, okay, or not burping properly, okay? I find it very unusual that it's something that you're actually eating that's causing your baby to spit up. Even a milk dairy intolerance, which is the most common food intolerance in infants that you'll see with breastfed infants, doesn't necessarily usually cause spit up or vomiting. What you'll see is fussiness, gassiness, green stool, things like that, more than actual spit up. Spit up comes from, or vomiting or projectile vomiting usually comes from overfeeding. So if this is happening with a bottle, what you need to do is take a look at, are you overfeeding your baby? A breastfed baby around 6 to 8 weeks will typically eat somewhere around 3 to 4 ounces, and then it never increases more than that the entire year. I'm going to say that again. They eat somewhere around 3 to 4 ounces, and it typically does not increase more than that the entire year. So when you're out there in the stores and you're looking at these 8, 9 ounce bottles, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'll need that for when the baby's like 7, 8, 9 months old, and how am I going to possibly pump 8 or 9 ounces? You're not. Okay, you're not, because that's just not how our bodies work. That's formula, okay? That is not breast milk. And this is something that you're going to really need to know about. I cover it in detail in my Breast Pumps and Briefcases audio, because it's one of the biggest misconceptions and then one of the biggest perception issues that causes moms to think that they're not making enough milk once their babies go back to daycare. They're feeding the bottles, and the daycare providers are saying, well, the formula-fed baby's eating 7 ounces and your baby must be hungry. That's not true, okay? Babies also need to burp, okay? If they're not being burped during the feeding and you're waiting till after, or I hear this all the time, my baby doesn't burp. All babies need to burp, okay? Or breastfed babies don't need to burp. Right? Do we all know this? All babies need to burp. When you swallow air. So it doesn't matter what you're swallowing, whether it's from the breast or a bottle, you will need to burp your baby. If you wait till the feeding is completely over, what's going to come up with that burp? All the milk, okay? So I want you to try to burp your baby somewhere in the middle of the feeding. Typically, they'll give you a sign that they're either falling asleep, that's usually a sign to start burping, or they're wiggling and struggling to come off, that's a sign. Think of it like this. If you start nursing your baby and they start gulping really hard in the beginning, think about when you drink a soda really fast. You know what I'm talking about? Like you drink a soda and you swallow a big air bubble and they can feel it and they start to struggle. What they're telling you is, I need to burp. And it may only be a few minutes into the feeding, but I want you to stop your baby, burp your baby, and then go back to the feeding, and usually you'll have less problems with spit up and vomiting. It's so interesting how every baby has reflux these days, right? Ever since they approved the drug for like reflux on infants, now every infant has reflux, you know? I don't know what that's all about, but anyway, you want to make sure that you're not overfeeding. That's the biggest issue that I see. All right, good night from New Jersey.